You can now turn your sources into cinematic video explainers in NotebookLM. It uses Google's most advanced models like Gemini 3, Nano Banana Pro, and Veo 3 to animate the visual story behind your sources. Here's a cinematic video overview explaining cinematic video overviews.
The idea of a limit is one of the most powerful tools in all of mathematics. It is the engine that drives calculus.
Imagine a map of a landscape. The landscape is a perfect graph of a mathematical function. If x is 1, we're dividing by 0, a hole in the mathematical reality of our world. Can we still figure out the altitude that should be there just by exploring the edges of the void?
Now, for those of you who have never used it before, NotebookLM is Google's AI research assistant. You can upload things like PDFs, articles, notes, research papers, YouTube transcripts, and NotebookLM will analyze, summarize, and explain the information for you. It's already famous for features like AI summaries, AI podcasts, question answering based on your sources. But now, Google has taken things one step further. With this new feature, you can turn your research sources into cinematic explainer videos automatically. Instead of just watching static summaries, NotebookLM now creates a visual cinematic story based on your documents. Think of it like this. You provide your sources. Then it creates the AI script, the visuals, the narration, and turns everything into a cinematic explainer video. And the result feels similar to the type of educational animations you see on YouTube. So you may want to ask, how does this help me as a creator or an educator? This feature could become extremely useful for content creators and educators. For example, you could use it to turn research into YouTube explainer videos, convert blog posts into visual storytelling, create educational content faster, or even turn complex reports into simple visual explanations. Instead of spending hours designing slides or animations, you can now generate the entire visual explanation automatically. Bear in mind that as at the time of creating this video, cinematic video overviews are rolling out to NotebookLM Ultra users, and currently, the feature is available in English. Since this is still a new release, we'll likely see more languages, more customization options, better visuals and editing controls in future updates.
If you use NotebookLM, you are probably familiar with how it digests your notes and turns them into narrated slide presentations. But when you feed the system a highly specialized research paper or a dense dataset, that rigid slide format struggles. It forces incredibly complex information into a standard, restrictive box. As step-by-step mathematical proof requires a different visual language than a sprawling French Revolution timeline. That structural rigidity is why NotebookLM is rolling out cinematic video overviews. This relies on a concept called agentic video. Agentic video is a system where the AI moves past filling in pre-made templates and instead takes on the role of an active creative director. Standard slides work fine for a quick recap, but really grasping a difficult concept requires an AI that can dynamically build and adapt its own teaching tools from scratch. The process begins when Gemini analyzes your source material. It evaluates the information and decides on the best overarching narrative structure, determining if your specific topic works better as a sharp tutorial or a deep dive documentary. Once the structure is locked in, the system establishes a unified visual style designed specifically for that story. Next, Gemini acts as a project manager. It divides up the visual elements, routing them to specialized AI models depending on each scene's specific needs. Coordinating these distinct models allows the system to generate highly specific, bespoke visuals tailored directly to your text, rather than pulling generic stock imagery. The first tool in this workflow is Gemini 3 Pro. Gemini 3 Pro is our latest large language model, which in this system is specifically responsible for writing code to generate programmatic animations. Typical video generation struggles with exact details. If you ask a standard image model to draw a map with specific historical borders, it usually hallucinates the geography or morphs the lines as the video plays. This animated map shows the Roman Empire expanding to its peak in 117 CE. Driven entirely by code, we can zoom in and highlight a specific regional territorial shift, while the rest of the continent remains structurally stable. That exact same precision is required when trying to visualize abstract mathematical concepts, like the quicksort algorithm in computer science. This diagram displays a real-time visualization of the quicksort algorithm. You can see how the code handles organizing scrambled data points into a visible, sequential order step by step. Relying purely on traditional visual generation wouldn't work for these tasks. The underlying code generation engine is necessary to translate complex, abstract logic into factually precise visuals. The next tool is Nano Banana Pro. Nano Banana Pro is a specialized image generation model that manages overall aesthetic control to ensure the visuals maintain a tight, cohesive style. When you are tracking complex data trends over a long timeline, the aesthetic has to remain strict so the viewer doesn't lose track of the underlying information. This chart tracks historical stock market growth over several decades. Notice how the markers for major historical events all share the exact same design language as the primary data line. Finally, the system utilizes VO3. VO3 is our advanced video generation model built to create rich, high-fidelity footage for narrative peaks. Sometimes a script demands an emotional atmosphere or a specific environmental context to ground the viewer, rather than hard data or charts. This generated video shows a moody, realistic nighttime scene of a train arriving at a foggy station. VO3 provides this immersive B-roll when needed. Generating all these different pieces is only part of the process. The final stage is an automated self-critique loop. Gemini acts as its own editor. It reviews the compiled footage to catch visual anomalies and makes adjustments to ensure the narrative flows naturally from start to finish. This active layer of self-correction turns a folder full of independent media outputs into a polished, continuous story. The combination of exact technical animation and expressive video generation makes cinematic video overviews the first system of its kind. If you prefer a more straightforward summary, the original explainer audio format will remain active and fully supported. Our engineering team is currently working on lowering the generation costs and accelerating render speeds. They are also developing multi-sensory features, like dynamic music, sound effects, and multiple voice actors. Starting today, cinematic video overviews are live in English for Google AI Ultra subscribers over 18, available across both web and mobile platforms.
If you enjoy discovering new AI tools and features that can boost your content creation, make sure you like the video, subscribe to Ray Creators Lab, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next AI tool tutorial. Also, let me know in the comments. Would you actually use AI to turn your research into cinematic videos? I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next video.